The Art of Learning to Love Yourself by Natty on AO3. Read to you by Just a Lot of Trees. Part 4 of the series. Ali Copycat. Summary. With the amount of trouble Izuku gets into all the time, it's really a wonder that Shinsou lets him out of the house. This time, at least, Shinsou is determined to be there when it all goes to shit for his green-haired friend. Something that neither of them were expecting, yet at the same time shouldn't have been surprising, was adopting a blonde with questionable interpersonal skills. But once one is claimed by Izuku, there's really no going back. Or how Monoma gets adopted into the squad. Trigger warnings given for this chapter are bullying, borderline suicide baiting, degradation, panic attack, not detailed but it is in there, anxiety, and mentions of tics because of anxiety. Alleyways always seem to be a common theme for Izuku, he reflects. Perhaps not for Izuku, but for bullies. People who want to do mean things to innocent people without witnesses to get them in trouble. It may be that reason that the green-haired boy enjoys walking through them. That or the general lack of people that care that usually pervades the air there when there isn't a crime happening. The thing is that it started like a normal day. Most days do, regardless of how bad it ends up turning out to be. They all start with blinking awake in an unsettlingly blank room and making breakfast. It's there that the fate of the day is decided. The quality of his breakfast. Izuku should have known that today was going to be eventful. See, the days that there is no milk for a cereal or butter for toast are bad, but the days that everything is freshly stocked and Mum was able to afford berries, nice and plump and juicy, fresh and barely bruised, are the most eventful, like some sort of karma. Izuku woke up today to the smell of French toast and came out to a full breakfast complete with fresh strawberries and blueberries and the good syrup. When Izuku was able to make it to his meeting place with Hitoshi and not even see a hint or hair of Katsuki, not a yell or explosion causing him to flinch and cower, withdraw into the safe corner of his mind to ride out the sweet, hot anger to be heard, a bad feeling settled in his chest. It sunk deeper when he was only tripped once and his homework was taken the first time. Izuku thinks that the feeling should have gone when he saw Katsuki walk in for the first time, pink splattered on the back of his neck and in splotches on his arms and hands. The back and underside of his sandy blonde hair is stained a bright pink to match, and the glare he receives promises a future retribution, so the good morning karma should have been resolved. When Katsuki only told Izuku off once for his stimming, popping his hands in fret, Izuku's anxiety got worse instead of better. By the time lunch came around, Izuku's stimming was out of control. He couldn't stop himself from moving or muttering. Tapping or bouncing or mumbling, Izuku couldn't settle himself, so he and Shinsou-san found themselves in the courtyard instead of searching out closet real estate, as they usually do. "Everything alright?" Shinsou-san had asked, softly hip-checking him for focus during the signing. "No," came Izuku's reply. "Bad feeling in my chest. Something big is happening today." And they left it at that, Shinsou-san sitting as a slightly worried companion to Izuku's stressed mumbling. If it weren't for Izuku's anxiety, the school day would have been almost enjoyable. However, it seemed as if the forces of the universe were making the first bit of Izuku's day great in order to make up for something big happening in the afternoon. So the longer the piece lasted, the more jumpy Izuku became. He took to fidgeting with the cuff Hatsume-san had given him the day prior, one that hooked around the entirety of the back of his ear, but was still concealed surprisingly well. "It's like Hero comes," the girl had said when forcing the clips into Izuku and Shinsou-san's hands. "This knob is for volume, and this button is to turn it on. These are the settings." Not turning it on, but running his finger over it as an anxious tick. Izuku's anxiety was made easier to bear with Shinsou-san's insistence on walking him home after school. Not dissipated, but it made Izuku feel a bit better that his friend would be there to help him deal with whatever good day karma decided to give him. Now, Izuku is standing in front of an alley, not much different than any of the others around, aside from the cold feeling that coils down his neck and settles around his rib cage. That and the sight of a group of teens about their age, seemingly grouped around one other, cornering them to the wall. Shinsou-san quiets at the sudden stillness of his green companion, and follows his gaze, eyes darkening in anger and face dropping from the slight smirk into a scowl. Both boys move in tandem, slipping quietly down the alley behind the larger group so as to not alert them to their presence. Their time hiding from bullies has really helped with their stealth, hardly making any sound as they approach. It isn't long before they hear what's being said. One of the kids, obviously the oldest and the leader of the group, has his hand fisted on the collar of a younger blonde, nitroglycerin sweat soaking into the collar of a black gherkin, smoking, popping into heat and force, burning, blistering, smelling, burnt, sweet, and is lifting him, pinning him to the wall as the boy struggles to balance himself on the tips of his toes. The blonde's face is twisted in a sneer, but his eyes are wide, manic, afraid. "Think to touch me again, filthy whore," the older kid spits into the blonde's face. The words themselves seem thick, sticking in the air and weighing it heavily on Izuku's shoulders. He reaches up and double presses the on button of his cuff. Double-clicking is a record function. It should be linked to my phone right now, but we can link them to whatever you want later. Saves the file under the date and time of the recording. Triple-clicking allows recording while streaming to the other paired cuffs. Wishing that he had the time to give Eraserhead-san his. "You think I even want your damn quirk?" The blonde chokes back through slightly laden breaths. "Your fraud ass wishes it had a quirk like mine," he growls, this time punctuating his sentence with an actual spit, saliva spattering across the blonde's cheek and making him squint. "You can't do shit without help. You know what?" the older boy asks, suddenly dropping the other to the ground. "I'd rather be quirkless than have a fraud quirk like yours. At least they know they're useless." He steps back and holds his arms out, as if presenting some grand idea to a crowd, and his lackeys giggle and move forward. "You seem to have some hope that you can do something with your life." The boy suddenly shifts his weight and flings his foot forward into the blonde's stomach, making him wheeze and gag onto the ground, doubled over. "You're wrong. The best you can ever be is a fake. A copycat who relies on charity to get to the level to lick my boots. You're nothing, Monoma." Izuku can tell that Shinsou-san is getting impatient. Izuku is too, and he can feel his phone vibrating against his leg as Hatsume-san texts him. She probably got notified when the recording started and is listening to it, but that doesn't matter much right now. He dashes, Shinsou-san following not a second later, and plants himself between the group and the prone blonde. The taller boy doesn't insert himself between the bully and victim, but rather uses the surprise Izuku caused to stroll through them with his hands in his pockets. "Stop!" Izuku exclaims, his hands held out, palms downward. "Oh? And who the fuck do you think you are, huh?" His tone is reminiscent of Katsuki's, and Izuku bristles at the reminder of the explosive teen. He's cocky and self-assured, standing there as if he's a god and everyone around him is mortal he has the right to play with. "Do you even know who you're protecting?" "Doesn't matter," Izuku grits out, teeth clenched. "I doubt he provoked you when he's alone like this, so back off." "That bitch is a fucking villain. He can steal quirks and use them against you, and he tried to take mine earlier today." The boy scoffs. "Not that I'd let him. If I don't do anything, then he won't know his place, and he'll steal more quirks. I'm being the hero here." "You know," Shinsou-san drools from behind the leader, causing the boy to rip around to face him. Assaulting someone because of their quirk is illegal, right? Sputters of surprise and denial flitter through the gathered teens, and Shinsou-san smirks, violet eyes narrowing and cheeks lifting. The cat who caught the canary lay suddenly quiet, and if Izuku didn't know what his quirk was, he wouldn't see the glazed eyes for what they are. Quirkism is a punishable offence, after all. Izuku turns around and quickly crouches down to the prone blonde. "Are you alright?" he questions, hesitantly reaching out a hand, unsure if it's to put it comfortingly on his shoulder or for the other to grab to help him stand. Behind him, he can hear Shinsou-san ordering the group to do something, but he pays no mind to it. They're safe for now, after all. The blonde, however, looks up and glares at Izuku. "What do you want, then?" he sneers. Izuku blinks back in shock, not expecting the sudden aggression. "Want to act all friendly and then betray me? Accidentally touch me and then freak out when I steal your quirk?" He grins, sitting back in a slouch, arms wrapped around his stomach where he was kicked. "Or do you want to do something illegal and claim it was me, that I used your quirk and framed you? Ha!" Izuku splutters, horror growing in his gut and showing on his face, angry sad tears welling in his eyes. No, of course not. That bullshit's not gonna work on me. All you people with hero-type quirks get some twisted satisfaction from beating down villains, huh? The weak? Well, guess what? I'm gonna make it into UA, so none of your little perverted schemes are going to fly with me. Izuku gets it. He really does. He's been where this kid is before, near daily. At least before Eraserhead-san, Shinsou-san, and Hatsume-san became his friends. He understands the resentment and the fear that comes from people seemingly randomly holding out a helping hand, because it's been done to him before. But there's one thing wrong with the kid's words, one thing that may help Izuku get to him. "What makes you think I have a hero-type quirk?" Izuku questions with a tilt of his head, meeting his blue-grey eyes. "What?" He snaps, defensive and confused. "What?" Izuku says again. "Makes you think that my quirk is a hero type?" "Because," the blonde starts, evidently unprepared for the direction the conversation is taking. "Because you just..." He makes a hand-waving motion before putting the arm back across his stomach. "Jumped in. Only big-headed hero types do that." Izuku stutters, hearing Shinsou-san let out a laugh behind him. "Shut up, Shinsou-san. I don't have a hero-type quirk, and neither does Shinsou-san." "That's bullshit," he shouts, squeezing his eyes shut and shaking his head. "Why else would anyone step in?" "Because we want to be heroes too, against the odds. We've both been where you are. Heck, we both are where you are, more often than not. Us weaklings have to stick together, yeah?" Izuku says in reply. "Prove it," the blonde says flatly. Izuku makes a questioning sound, and the boy meets his gaze again, eyes hard, so scared, yet determined, and continues. "I have a copy quirk. Prove that you don't have some big, fancy quirk, not just using me as some sick, twisted game." Izuku cuts him off. "Sure," he says agreeably. "I'm actually curious about how you'll react to me." Izuku looks up at Shinsou-san and tilts his head, asking if he's willing to do it too. "Sure, Blondie, you can copy mine," Shinsou-san drawls, arms crossed over his chest and looking down at them from a few paces away. "You should probably do mine first, in case Midoriya does some bullshit. What do you need to do? Eye contact? Touch?" Just like that?" "Just like that," Shinsou-san confirms. "Are you gonna tell me what you need, or do I have to just guess?" The blonde fumbles for a moment, mouth opening and closing without a sound, before he manages to get out an answer. "Touch. Just skin on skin." Shinsou-san paces closer and reaches out a hand flippantly, well within the blonde's arm reach. He hesitates a moment longer, as if unsure if Shinsou-san would take back his hand, but When it stays, he brushes the offered hand with his own. "Oh, shit," the boy mutters, sucking in a deep breath. His voice becomes a bit melodic, just like Shinsou-san's, and Izuku knows that he was right about the purple-haired boy's quirk not just replying to answers to questions. It has latent effects too. He wonders if his voice has a subtle suggestive aspect to it, like a lesser form of brainwashing, more like slight emotional manipulation to be more open to suggestion from the speaker, or making the listener pay more attention to the user. If there wasn't as much discrimination as there is, Shinsou-san would probably have a pretty easy time getting things he asks for. "Yeah, I can see how others wouldn't like you. This is some bullshit, man. You might just have my favorite quirk. Holy shit." Shinsou-san raises his hand and rubs the back of his neck, a subconscious nervous tick he does when he's embarrassed or nervous about something. Hero Analysis for the Future, Volume 12. And grins. "Thanks, I guess." The blonde is a bit more at ease now, whether it be that he has a very cool mental and possible emotional manipulation quirk under his control, or that he can infer that Shinsou-san at least suffers the same as he does is unclear, but Izuku takes it as an improvement. They both look at Izuku with different amounts of curiosity, and Izuku lifts his hand to touch the other's. Before he makes contact, Izuku pauses and says, "I'm not sure what a copy quirk will do to either of us since I'm quirkless, but no better way to find out." And with that, Izuku grabs the kid's hand. The world seems to stop for the boy as his breath catches and he stares wide-eyed at the green eyes looking kindly at him. He chokes out, once again lost for words. "I can't feel my quirk." And that makes sense. He must copy the DNA into his own and be able to use others that way. And since Izuku doesn't have a quirk factor, he copied not having a quirk factor, and that nullifies his quirk. Izuku wonders how that works for the physical mutations, because those technically lie in different parts of DNA than the emitter or transformative quirk does. So maybe he just copies those effects, not the whole mutation? "Hey, calm down. Can you breathe for me?" Shinsou-san's voice cuts through Izuku's thoughts, and he's abruptly reminded that the boy in front of him is suddenly quirkless for who knows how long, and is definitely panicking. "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I swear I didn't know," Izuku says, removing his hand from the blonde's and stepping back. Shinsou-san moves to where he just was, directly in front of the boy. "Can I tap a breathing pattern on your hand?" he asks, receiving a shaky nod. They sit there, letting the boy work through his panic as Izuku's thoughts race, for about 3 minutes before he slumps with a sigh. "That," he says, voice trembling, "was shitty. He lifts his eyes to meet Izuku's, and he can see the sympathy and regret in them. "Was shitty. Wow. That absolutely sucked. And you live with that, plus everyone's bullshit. Wow." The boy seems at a loss, and Izuku can't really blame him. "So was that proof? That we're not some sketchy power lords who want to make you our slave?" Izuku says, hoping to relieve some of the tension. His efforts are rewarded with a sigh and a small huff of laughter. Izuku counts it as a success. "Monoma Neito," the boy says and stands up slowly. His voice is still a bit shaky and exhausted, but Izuku can't really expect anything else. He draws himself up to his full height and looks between them in expectation. "Oh, I'm Midoriya Izuku," he replies hurriedly, flapping his hands in embarrassment. "Shinsou Hitoshi." The taller grunts as he stands up as well. Monoma-san nods and pulls out his phone. "I have decided that you two are worthy of my time. Your numbers?" Izuku takes the offered hand and adds his number, texting himself immediately and pulling out his own phone. When he opens it, he sees a plethora of texts from Hatsume-san. "You heard it all. I'm adding him to the group chat. You'll meet him soon enough. I'll backread later," he sends at the end of the slew of messages, and does just that. When Monoma-san's phone starts buzzing in tandem with his and Shinsou-san's, Izuku gives the other a bright smile. "Welcome to the insanity, Monoma-san." Something that neither of them were expecting, yet at the same time shouldn't have been surprising, was adopting a blonde friend. Oh shit. Oh yeah, I completely forgot to. Cool. Oh god. Okay, we're back. I've called my nan, who I was supposed to. Oh god. I still can't believe I've completely forgot about that and just when to start recording. Okay. Where was I? Something that. Okay. Oh, jeez. This is gonna be a great episode, I can already tell. It's on the opposite side of my desk. Why does it fucking pick it up? Shit, I'm getting distracted again. To give him. Shinsou-san quiets at the sudden stillness of it. Oh, no. I completely missed a fucking paragraph. Shit. Shinsou-san quiets at the sudden stillness of his green companion. Where did that even come from? Companion. Green companion. No, it's not even American. What the fuck? Whatever. One of the kids, obviously the oldest and leader of the group, has his friend fisted on... No. Do you think I even want your damn quirk? No, that's not quite Monoma. You think I even want your damn quirk? But he's also... Your fraud ad ad. Your fraud ad. Yep. His ass is an advertisement. Good times. What am I even saying? I shouldn't. Shinsou-san draws. Shinsou-san draws. It's way easier to pronounce in an American accent. Just like that, Shinsou-san confirms. Are you gonna tell me what you need, or... Oh my god. I forgot. Oh, of course it's 6:30. Jesus.